Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this second workshop organized by ASCUN, Universidad Nacional de Colombia, and with the very valuable collaboration of ETS. As we have advertised, this is the second one of a series of workshops intended to motivate our audience and our community to improve our knowledge about TOEFL IBT exams. The idea is to contribute to the familiarization of our community in terms of what is entailed in these international exams. We all know that it is very important to work towards strengthening our competences in the English language because many of us are interested in participating in different academic activities. I really want to thank Luisa Fernanda Villamizar from ASCUN for having offered this possibility to Universidad Nacional de Colombia. This event is being transmitted via our channels, Facebook, the account that is led by ASCUN, and the other one by Dirección de Relaciones Exteriores de la Universidad Nacional de Colombia. And in a few days, you will also have access to this talk. You can just check in our YouTube channel. Thank you again and welcome to this activity. I now want to invite Luisa Fernanda to take the floor.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our last session of the workshop by Educational Testing Service, ETS. My name is Luisa Fernanda Villamizar. I'm the International Relations Coordinator at the Colombian Association of Universities, ASCUN. Thanks, Professor Melba Cárdenas, to this opportunity for sharing some tips to the academic community at Universidad Nacional de Colombia to improve their skills in English through our agreement with ETS. So I would like to introduce Mr. Jair Ayala, who will lead the lessons for today. Thanks, Jair, and thanks to all of you for taking advantage of these initiatives by ASCUN. Jair, I give you the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor. It is always a pleasure to see you and to be sharing this experience with you. And of course, thank you for the invitation, ASCUN and the university. I'm gonna start sharing my screen with you. And the recommendation I always give is please do not hesitate. Ask as many questions as you have. There are no naive questions, so please make sure that you do ask, that you do interrupt, okay? There is no problem with that. Okay, so with no further ado, we're gonna continue with the second part of this workshop. Last session, you started working on reading and listening. So today we're gonna move on with the second part, which is composed by the productive skills, speaking and writing. So basically what we're gonna be working on today is on the tasks that are given in the speaking and in the writing part. The first part of this workshop today is gonna be focused on speaking, and the second part is gonna be focused on writing. So from this very moment, I would like you to please start using the chat so that you can let me know that you are there and I don't feel that I'm talking to myself. Okay, good. So the first question is, are you confident when you speak in Spanish in public? Are you confident speaking in public in Spanish? Spanish, our first language, right? So are you confident? Do you feel confident enough to speak in public in Spanish? All right, Francisco says yes. Sebastian says yes. Liliana says yes. Christian says yes, I do. Not that much. Thank you, Daniela. Daniela Lopez says yes. Alejandro Osorio says yes, of course. Professor Melba is confident speaking in Spanish and in English. I wish I could have that confidence. Okay. Christian says not always. Okay, and I asked you this question because actually it is very important to bear in mind that when we speak in a foreign language, it is not only a matter of language or linguistic competence. It is also part of these skills that we have in the first language. If we are not confident speaking in Spanish in our case, there is a high possibility for us also not to be confident speaking in a foreign language. So the first recommendation I'm going to share with you today is to try to speak up your mind in a foreign language as well as we do in the first language. We don't need to think of these type of exercises that we have in the tasks that we have in the exam as something difficult or as something that we are not familiar with. Because actually, as we're going to be working on today, and we're going to be seeing today, these tasks are real tasks from life, right? So we are not going to think about something that is fiction, something that is unnatural to the way we behave, to the way we live our lives. So the tasks that we have in the speaking section are tasks that we would develop, that we would do also naturally in the first language, in the first tongue, okay? So that is all the first idea that I want you to bear in mind. The tasks that we have in the exam are very similar to the tasks that we would develop in the first language. And then we not only need to think about the language, but we need to think how we would perform, how we would do those tasks as if they were in the first language. Okay, so let's move on. We have two different types of tasks in the speaking section of TOEFL IBT. The first task, we call it independent task. The first task, we call it independent because there is only one language skill involved. Remember that we have 4 language skills: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. And then in the independent task, there is only one language skill involved. In this case, speaking. In this case, what we are going to be doing is that we are going to read and listen to a prompt. And based on that prompt, students, candidates are going to be given 15 seconds to prepare the answer. These 15 seconds are very important because in those 15 seconds, we are going to take notes. We're going to write down the bullet points of the answer that we are going to produce. After the 15 seconds, students have 45 seconds to record the answer on the computer, okay? And then during those 45 seconds, the idea is to complete the answer based on the task that we were given. We're going to do one exercise like that. So before I forget, please make sure that you have your cell phone at hand. Also that you have paper and a piece of and pencil or pen to write with. So once again, you need your cell phone today. You are going to be using your cell phone today for the speaking section especially, all right? And also, I'm going to invite you to take some pictures with the cell phone and also to audio record some of the exercises that we're going to be doing today. Okay, so the first task, as I said, is called independent, and there is only one independent task. As I said, you read a prompt, you listen to the same prompt, then you have 15 seconds to prepare the answer, and then you are given 45 seconds to record your answer on the computer. That would be like the first task, which is called independent. The second part of the speaking section of TOEFL IBT deals with 3 tasks that are integrated. Integrated tasks, we call them like that because actually they do integrate more than one language skill. In this case, candidates are going to read a very short paragraph, no more than, you have 50 seconds to read that information. It's a very short reading about a topic. Then you listen to a conversation, which is no longer than 2 minutes. Based on the information that you read and also on the information that you heard, you are going to be asked either to summarize, paraphrase, synthesize, analyze that information, and report on that. Okay, so it is very important that you are going to be able to take notes, not only on the reading, but also on the conversation that you are going to be listening to. Okay, based on that information, you are going to be asked a question. Then you can read the question. You can also listen to the question. Then you're given 30 seconds to write down the organization, like the structure, the outline of the answer that you are going to audio record on the computer again. And then this answer is going to take 60 seconds, 1 complete minute. Also, we're going to do one practice of that, of one task like that. So once again, we have 2 different tasks. We have one that is called independent, and we have 3 tasks that are called integrated. Also, I'm going to share with you the rubrics, which is like I call them the rules of the game. How you are going to be assessed, how you're going to be evaluated. Those are public. And then you can, of course, I'm going to share them with you right now. These rubrics, we have one that is designed for the independent task. Okay, thank you very much. And I have a question. Oh, also, as in the same sense that you are, at the same time that you are writing down your questions, I'm going to read them and I'm going to give answer to that question right away. So there is no interruption. Actually, there is contribution. All right, so Natalia says, or Francisco says, I'm sorry, in order to prepare for this section, should we do some vocalization exercises? No. Oh, that is a very good, I love this type of questions. Thank you very much. Thank you for that good question. We don't need to do anything that is not normal. We don't need to pretend that we have any given accent. We don't need to pretend that we have certain fluency or that we use certain type of vocabulary or slang that actually it is not natural to us. The name of this exam is Test of English as a Foreign Language. The rubrics that I am going to share with you don't mention anything related to accent or any type of very strict pronunciation. The rubrics here emphasize on communication. As long as you do communicate your ideas, this is exactly what is going to give you these points. The more you produce, the more you communicate, the higher score you can get, okay? So this is not about these features such as pronunciation, fluency, intonation, accent, pitch, tone, that we may know, that we could have been taught also in these language courses, but it is very important, and I say that this exam is for foreigners because not all foreigners have the expected, I guess, pronunciation or accent or these features that are not important, let's say, in this exam and for many other aspects as well, all right? So as long as you communicate, this is what matters. You don't need to say like the different vowel sounds absolutely clear. No, absolutely clearly, no. As long as you do yourself, you are able to communicate your ideas, this is what actually matters. Second, also, you don't need to use this flourish language. I mean, like, you don't need to use this super academic flourish language, or opposite to that, you don't need to use colloquial or any type of slang to communicate your ideas, unless actually this is your regular way, this is your normal way, this is your natural way of communication, all right? So we don't need to change when we are taking this exam to something that actually we are not used to using, okay? So this is something natural. Good. Thank you very much for that question. All right, and once again, please do not hesitate. Ask any question is very good because that actually, once again, gives different ideas to this presentation. And of course, the idea is that I'm not gonna be just like talking, but we're gonna be interacting. Okay, so as I was saying, this is the rubric for the independent speaking task. And I'm going to show you the 3 main components of this rubric. The 3 descriptors are based on topic development. Once again, emphasizing on the idea that you need to address, the idea that you need to develop. Second, how you develop that idea. And then the language that you use. It doesn't mean that you are not able to make mistakes. Once again, this exam is for foreigners, and we are not going to be assessed as if we were native speakers, okay? So we are not going to, we are not expecting in ETS, we're not expecting candidates to speak like this perfect, if it is possible to say that, English. No, the idea is that you are going to be able to communicate your ideas, and that the listener, the person who assesses your production, is going to be able to understand. Despite the fact that we naturally make mistakes even when we're speaking in the first language, right? So the idea is that we can communicate clearly the ideas. The objective is to communicate clearly the ideas that we want to express. Okay, so also I want to make sure that we understand how this exam is assessed. This exam is assessed. Oh yes, thank you very much, Christian. I have another question here about note taking. I have already, thank you very much, and I'm going to answer that right now. I have already suggested, I have already mentioned 4 skills that are necessary not to take this exam, but that are necessary in academic life. The first one I said, summarizing, synthesizing, paraphrasing, and analyzing information. Those were the ones that I already mentioned. The other one is note taking. It is very important to start developing this skill. Actually, you know, like as university students, we already developed that skill because we don't take notes of every single word that the professors mention in the lectures that we take, right? So this is basically what I would like to suggest now. The same skills that we use at the university are the skills that we are going to use when we take this exam, because the exam is, the results of the exam is shared with universities, and the universities not only want to know how good you are at English, but how you can actually use that linguistic competence in the classes, because the fact that you are, let's say, super good at English doesn't mean that you are a good student, all right? And also the other way around. So in this case, the skills that we use as students are super important when we take this exam. Once again, summarizing information, synthesizing information, paraphrasing information, and analyzing information, and note-taking. For note-taking, I think as well as what we do at the university, we just need to write down the information that we consider is important, and two, that is going to be asked in the tasks of the exam. For example, they are never going to ask, and we're going to see the types of questions here as well. They are never going to ask about like super detailed information in regards to names, but it wouldn't hurt if you actually could take notes of those names. That could give you a clearer idea on the speaker's intention, because actually that is something on the speaker's attitude. So you can determine who says what. Who is the first one, what, and when. Those would be like the 3 main aspects to take notes of. All right. And of course, we're going to do one exercise in a minute. And then based on this exercise, I would like to hear from you what notes you took off. And then we can actually start building up on that idea and on that exercise that you just did. And of course, we're going to do. All right. So as I was saying, I want to clarify how this exam is assessed. All the raters, people who assess this exam, don't have access to our information. They don't know who we are. So they don't know our background, and of course they don't know our needs. Opposite to what could happen with other exams, because this could actually bias the result. That is point number 1. Point number 2, every rater is not going to evaluate, is not going to assess more than one answer of each of our exams. Every writer is given only one question of hundreds of exams. So there is no possibility for one writer to favor or not one candidate. First, because the writer doesn't know who the candidate is, and two, because the rubrics, the writer uses all the time the rubrics, and because it wouldn't make any sense of a writer helping or not helping any given candidate. The writers don't have any access to your picture, your name, nationality, or anything that could give the idea that the assessment can be biased. So these are two reasons why this exam is absolutely objective, okay? And then also, besides that, this exam is assessed by a software which is called the speech rater, and then this rater assesses the linguistic features, the structure, the grammatical aspect of the language, right? It doesn't evaluate like the S of the third person in singular, in the female and male. It doesn't evaluate like that. It actually evaluates the structure of the language. And if we could analyze the differences among the languages, we're going to see that actually each language would have a different structure. Then this software analyzes that our production is English structured based. So each question is analyzed by a human rater and by the software. So that also gives more objectivity and guarantees objectivity in the assessment of the exams, of every single exam. So we may understand here that every single exam is assessed at least by 4 different people and by 2 different types of software. One for the speaking section and a different one for the writing section, okay? So one exam, the exam that we take, that exam is not assessed by only one person. This exam is assessed by at least 4 different people and 2 different software, okay? So that is just like for us to have an idea on what type of exam this is. All right. Now the benchmarks, the descriptors that I am going to share with you, I am going to share them with you. Okay, I'm going to do the other way around. I'm going to share with you the rubrics right now. Here, these are the rubrics. And then I'm going to share with you the task. So as you can see here, they have the 3 descriptors, as I mentioned before. We have delivery, language use, and topic development. And every single task is assessed in a scale from 0 to 4. 4 is the highest score, the highest rate that we can get in one task, okay? And then once again, I want you to please take 30 seconds to read, take 1 minute to read the highest score, the highest scale in these rubrics. You are going to notice that errors, mistakes are still accepted, no matter if you get the highest score, all right? So we are not asking for perfection. We are not asking for, we're asking only for task completion, language that of course could communicate what you want to say, and that you are going to connect your ideas in a logical way, which is exactly what we do in Spanish, all right? And of course here, the idea is to keep the same structure that we have when we communicate, but we're going to do it now in English. Okay. I have another question before I give you the minute for you to read the descriptors here. It says, buenos días, sé que ahora si se toma más de un TOEFL se pueden usar los mejores puntajes de cada área y combinarlos. Este es un proceso, ¿cómo se puede formalizar? ¿Se necesita realizar algún tipo de requerimiento a ATS? That is a very good question. This is a new policy that we started working with last August the 1st, last year, and it is called My Best Scores. If you allow me to, let's work first on speaking, then on writing, and then I'm going to talk about my best scores. But yes, you are correct. My best scores deals with the exams that are still valid. You automatically, you don't have to pay, you don't have to request, you don't have to do anything. In the exam that you take, let's say today, you are going to find the results of today's exam and also the combination of the best scores that you have in the previous exams. For example, if you took one or two different exams from today's exam, the highest scores of those previous exams are going to be shown, are going to be reflected in today's exam. So you are going to receive two different types of results. The exam results of today's and also the combination of previous exams that are still valid. So I'm going to leave it just like that, and afterwards I'm going to show you with examples and with the screenshots and everything how it works, okay? So thank you very much, Sebastian, for your question. Good. So as I was saying, I'm going to give you 1 minute for you to read the descriptor of the scale number 4 so that you understand exactly how you are going to be evaluated. These are for the independent task, and your minute starts in 3, 2, 1. Three, 2, 1. Okay. Did you have enough time to read all the information in the scale number 4? Could you please answer that in the chat box? All right. Let me see. All right. Thank you very much. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, good, good. All right. So this exercise that we just did, it is very useful and important for you to practice. You time up yourself and you give yourself any given time, and then you have to do the exercise in that amount of time. Then after, you are going to reduce the amount of time that you give yourself at the first place, and then the idea is to increase your speed and your pace of reading in this case, okay? Great, awesome. So as you saw there, errors, mistakes are accepted when you have the highest score in TOEFL. So even when you make mistakes, you still can have the highest score in TOEFL, all right? Why? Because this exam is for foreigners. All right, so I want you to please tell me if you have your cell phone, you have paper and pencil or pen to write with, so that we're gonna start doing the first activity. All right, Francisco says, yes, I have. All right, thank you very much. Anybody else? All right, so only Francisco and Christian are ready. Okay, all right, thank you. We're going to do the independent task. And for that, thank you very much. Alejandro is ready. And we're going to read the task, listen to the task, and after I give you 15 seconds to prepare your answer, and then I give you 45 seconds to audio record your answer on your cell phone, okay? So please make sure that you have your cell phone ready on the recorder so that you can audio record your answer on your cell phone. After, I'm going to give you some time for you to self-assess. based on the rubrics that you're looking at here, right? So you are going to do this task. You are going to audio record it. And then you are going to evaluate. You're going to self-assess your performance based on these rubrics. Also, we're going to compare your performance with some other examples that I brought today. Okay. Yes, here, before we start, some tips to take notes. As long as you, that is also important. Try not to write down the complete phrases, but to write down key words. And those keywords should be complete. Don't write down only the initials, because otherwise you may forget what that initial meant, right? So the idea would be not to write down complete phrases, but to write down complete key words that they could help you organize your ideas to produce your answer. Now, for this upcoming task, what you should take notes of is on the key words, the bullet points of the information that you are going to develop. For example, if they asked you about your opinion about the city, make sure that you use 3 points, 3 ideas to talk about the positive aspects of the city we live in, for example, or the positive and the negative aspects, so that you can combine one positive and one negative aspect of the city we live in, if that were the task. Also important to start the answer with the introduction, which is the answer that you were requested. For example, if the task is, do you agree or disagree? Make sure that you explicitly state your agreement or your disagreement with the statement that you were given. And then support your answer by giving examples. So if you say, for example, I agree, so you're going to show at least 3 supporting examples with your agreement about that idea. And also make sure to include a concluding idea. The concluding idea would be, of course, to support and to wrap up your, let's say in this case, agreement with the idea that you were given. Okay? So that is in general some ideas on what notes to take off and how to do it. Now, let's do this task. Then we're going to self-assess. And after that, I'm going to share with you at least 4 different examples of different responses that we have for the same task. Okay? So as we are ready, I'm going to show you the task. We're going to get to listen to the task. Then after, I give you 15 seconds, and then I give you 45 seconds to audio record your answer on the cell phone. Okay, so please make sure that you understand the task, okay? So let's see the task. Okay, now we're going to listen to the task.
Some universities require first-year students to live in dormitories on campus. Others allow students to live off campus. Which policy do you think is better for first-year students and why? Include details and examples in your explanation.
Okay. Did you hear the task? You were able to read the task as well? Now, we have 15 seconds for you to prepare your answer. In this case, please make sure that you write down the bullet points for your answer. For this task, once again, you have 15 seconds, and those start in 3, 2, 1. Okay, your 15 seconds are over. Now, please get your cell phones ready. I'm going to give you 45 seconds for you to answer the task. Please audio record it on your cell phone so that afterwards you can listen to your recording and you can self-assess based on the rubrics, the same rubrics that you are going to be assessed when you take the official exam. Okay, so your 45 seconds start in 3, 2, 1. Two, one. Your time is up. Okay. Thank you very much. Please. All right. Now, please, in the chat box, could you answer if you had enough time to answer completely the task? Yes, I did, says Christian. Francisco says, yes, I do. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Did you have enough time to answer all the tasks? Were you able to answer all? All right, Cindy says, yes, I didn't have time to point out my examples, just mentioned the bullet points. Very good. Thank you very much. So as you saw, some of you did have enough time, some others didn't have enough time. And this could be just like the very first time that you try to do this type of tasks. But also, by doing this, you can increase the information, the amount of information that you include in the answer, and also you can reduce the timing, not by speaking faster, but by making sure that you actually include the information that you want to include, okay? Also important to mention here, there is not wrong answers, right? The only possibility for you to provide a wrong answer is that, as the rubric says here, the speaker makes no attempt to respond or the response is unrelated to the topic. So if you agree or disagree, it's okay, right? In this type of responses, right? So if you say, yes, I agree because this, that is fine. Or I disagree because of this, of that, okay? So there is no right or wrong answer. As long as your answer is related to the task, to the topic and to the task, there is no problem. Okay, now, if you want to please take a screenshot of the rubrics, that is fine. I'm going to give you 1 minute and 30 seconds for you to listen to your production. And then I want you to please share in the chat box what scale in the number from 0 to 4 would you give yourself based on the reading of the rubrics, okay? So you have 1 minute and 30 seconds to please share with me in the chat box the number that you consider you would give yourself based on the task that you just did. So your 1 minute and 30 seconds start in 3, 2, 1. All right, your time is up. Okay, so Liliana says she thinks it's a level 2. Anybody else? Anybody else wants to share your number, your level here? All right. I know. All right, Angel, thank you very much. I think you're a level 5, a level 4. That's it. That's perfect. That is all right. Yes. Francisco says it's a level 4. Yep. And Christian says it's a level 4. 2 or 3, more a 3 than a 2, says Daniel. And Daniela says maybe a level 3. Okay. Okay, very good. I don't know you, but if you have been with us last week and this week, and you already know the rubrics, I am sure that you are not a level 2, because the level of understanding can be also very similar to the level of production, considering that we are not paying attention here to aspects such as accent, fluency, and this type of flourish language. But here, we're just like expressing our ideas, communicating our ideas. So I think your response address the task, that is a level 2, and then maybe the amount of information and how that amount of information was presented could have affected your production. So these are like some aspects that we should pay attention to so that we can practice with the same task. We can do it various times before actually we take the official test, okay? Also for your information, you can go to this website here. I am sharing with you right now, and then you can find a lot of samples that you can practice with, okay? All right, so there in that website, you can find literally hundreds of examples. And also at the end of today's presentation, I'm going to share with you some other links where you can find free practice exercises, all right? Good. All right, so I'm happy that you guys are level 2, 3, and 4, and I am sure that, of course, now you understand how this works. Your level could be even higher than what you think. Okay, now let's listen to some examples of what a level 4, what a real level 4 is in TOEFL, okay? And as you're going to see, this is nothing unexpected. This could be one of us, all right? So let's listen to this response.
I think it's better for the first year students to live on campus rather than off campus. Main reason because they are new to the city and it's safer for them to live on campus where there's more security because they don't know much about the city in the first place. Second of all, it helps them to become more familiar with their surroundings where they have to study. It also helps them to meet new people. Living in a dorm encourages friendships with people who you might not seem very comfortable with the first time, and it helps you meet new people. It helps you to interact with your seniors, if any, living in your dorm.
All right. Was it too fast? Was she speaking too fast? Nope, not really. All right. Yep. So maybe that to me, she was a little bit rushing up her response. I guess she was to me she was a little bit fast, you know, like but also important to mention is that I think she was clear on the examples that she wanted to use, to mention. How many okay, the accent, all right. With listening noise and around him present the exam. Okay, good. Caroline says, I have a great problem with the listening to noise around when I'm presenting the exam. It happened to me at the other past TOEFL test. For that, I have two ideas. When you take the exam in a testing center, you may ask the proctor to of course, to have everyone quiet That is one. And two, you're given, I am looking for my headset here in the studio. You're given a big headset that actually covers your complete ears. So that helps you a lot. And also, these days, we are offering the possibility for you to take the exam from your house. So when you take the exam from your house, you can take it from your room. So there you can be by yourself. No one is going to distract you. There is not going to be any noise around you. And the most important here is that today, when you take the exam from your house, you can choose the day and the time for you to take the exam. I took the exam 6 weeks ago, and I decided to take it on a Tuesday night. Why night? Because at that time, my daughters were already sound sleeping, so there was no noise around. And also on Tuesday, because that is my slowest day, right? So I decided to take it on Tuesday night at 9 at night. So those could be like my two suggestions in case there is noise around when you are taking your exam in regards to listening. Okay, that was the question that I was asked in the chat. Okay, how many examples did this person give for her response? Did you notice? Three examples, correct. There were three examples, and the third example was a little bit with an extension, right? So she says that when you live in dormitories on campus, you can make friends. And then she mentioned that you can go out with friends, and then you can meet seniors, and then she mentioned some extra information. The one question that I am sometimes asked when I talk about this task is that what happens if you finish your answer before the time is up, before the time finishes? Nothing. As long as you provide all the information that you were given, you are not going to be penalized. So the more you speak, the better, but also make sure that you don't have interrupted phrases, that you don't have halfway phrases when the sound is off, when the time finished, right? So because that could give the idea that actually you didn't have enough time. So make sure that you give 3 examples and that those examples are word supported, and there is no rush. There is no rush. If you finish before the time is up, it's okay. And just make sure that you don't rush up as if you were going to include extra information that was not requested. Okay? Okay, now this is the highest level. Now I'm going to show you the lowest level for that task.
I think the dormitories living, the students lives in dormitories very close to each other, students, so they familiar to each other, so proceed students' relationship and communication, so very familiar. Cause good job for students.
Okay, so what do you think of that? What do you think of that production, that response? You see, she basically didn't give any example, and she was there hesitating, and I am sure that your answer was way better than that, because I know that you had your responses, your 3 bullet points there to elaborate upon, right? So even though this candidate here only gave 1 example, she received the score of 1, right? And then there were many problems in her production, like it was not very clear, it was not easy to understand. And the message, she didn't produce 1 complete sentence or phrase, right? Still, she received the level 1, right? So if we see the highest level and we see the lowest level, I guess we understand already that the most important in this exam is not the language per se, but is our ideas, how we respond to those tasks. All right. So this is what it is. This is what independent task is like. And of course, once again, I invite you to please visit the website where you can find literally hundreds of examples like this that you can work with and you can practice with, so that once you are going to take the exam, you are super familiar with this type of tasks. All right, so there is, según el puntaje de 0 a 4, ¿cómo se asigna el puntaje de 0 a 30 puntos? Remember that we have, that is a very good question as well. There are 4 tasks in the speaking section. Each of the tasks is assessed from 0 to 4, and then there is scale. There is a scale on the website that you can find it. The 3 bullet points, the bullet points of this answer. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to answer first the first question. So you find this scale on how to transform the scale from 0 to 4 into the scale from 0 to 30. All right. Each task is evaluated, is assessed from 0 to 4. And the combination of the 4 tasks is transformed into a scale from 0 to 30. And that scale of transferring one number to the other, you can find it also in the website, okay? Yep, that is a very good question. Okay, now second question here, could you please repeat the 3 bullet points? Oh, my point here in regards to the 3 bullet points is that you need to make sure that you answer the task. You say, I agree or disagree, which is the task in this case, and then you give 3 examples. And you support your agreement or disagreement with those 3 examples, and then you conclude by saying, and that is why I agree with the idea that living on campus is better than to live off campus, or something like that. Of course, it depends on the task. But also, I encourage you to please visit the website, look for samples, because there you can easily see the structure that I am talking about: the introduction, the 3 examples, and the conclusion. Okay. Good. Can we find the answers from others in the webpage or somewhere else? Yes, of course. You can find these answers in the channel of YouTube. All right. And then you can find, I'm going to share with you, you can find the link, of course, in YouTube channel of ETS, TOEFL. There are more than 14,000 videos about this. And also you can find many exercises on the ETS website that are going to help you understand the structure. And of course, there are some other examples that you can look at. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for those questions. All right, so this is in regards to the independent task. Now we're going to move on to talk about the integrated task. Okay, good. In the integrated task, as I said, I'm going to give you an extra one before I move on. Much better. Just as another example. I'm going to play one of these soundtracks here. I'm going to play one of these samples here. And with the rubrics that you already took the picture of, or that you have the screenshot of, and also I'm going to share it with you in the slide here, I want you to assess, I want you to rate, to evaluate this student's performance. So you're going to say, oh, this student is level 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 0, all right? So just a little bit of practice so that you can say, oh, I now understand a little bit clearer the rubrics. Okay, so let's listen to candidate number 1. And if you have at hand the rubrics, that would be interesting for you to look at the rubrics and listen to the audio. And also, after you listen to the audio, I am going to share with you again in the slide the rubrics so that you can tell me what level you think this person has based on the rubrics of TOEFL.
It's better if at the first year the students live in dormitories and on campus because it's very difficult the kind of adaptation they have to suffer because it's the first year and their first experience and the place, so they need help to recognize the location. They need time to live all those aspects of the new school, to have more friends, and because the first year is the more difficult because of adaptation, they need to be more closely relations.
Okay. What level do you think this person could have based on these rubrics? Level 333. Thank you very much. Francisco, Christian, Liliana, Johan, and Fabian say level 3. All right, I'm going to read what the feedback that this person received was. It says, the speaker's delivery is generally good. She's able to sustain a speech at a mostly consistent pace. While interference from the speaker's first language is evident in her speech, mispronunciations only occasionally interfere with the listener's ability to follow. The speaker's grammatical range, while not sophisticated, is appropriate to the task with only minor errors evident. What's problematic, however, are errors of word choice. For example, the kind of adaptation they have to suffer, and also word form. They need to be more closely relations, which at times create confusion for the listener. This is especially true when these errors result in an inability to provide sufficient elaboration or support from information the speaker is trying to explain. While the response does convey information relevant to the topic, in general, the development of ideas is limited. As mentioned, some key ideas are vaguely expressed or unsupported. Overall, the speech is mostly intelligible, but ideas are sometimes unclear due to limitations in vocabulary. As a result, this is a level 3. You were all correct. This type of feedback that I just read is the type of feedback that we can see also in our report score, okay? The idea here is to see that the language, although it does play a very important role here, it is not the most important, because it's the ideas that one needs to communicate, right? So here what they said is like the ideas were vaguely expressed and unsupported. That is exactly what we need to make sure that we understand, that we give the examples and that we support those examples. Okay, good. Thank you very much for your participation. Yes, she definitely is a level 3. Okay. Now let's move on to the second task, that is the integrated task. Once again, I am going to explain it to you, and then after we're going to do it. So in this section, you are going to read a very short text, then you listen to a conversation, then after you are going to listen and read to the task. After that, you have 30 seconds to prepare your answer. And after, you have 1 complete minute. In this case, you are going to audio record your answer on your cell phone. After that, I am going to show you the rubrics. The rubrics for the independent are different from the rubrics for the integrated task, okay? So just make sure that we understand the task and we are going to do it. Okay, so are you all ready? Good. So let's listen here what they are going to tell us.
City University's choir is changing its performance schedule next year. Read an article about it in the student newspaper. You will have 50 seconds to read the article. Begin reading now.
Okay, now we have 50 seconds to read this information. Your 50 seconds are going to start in 3, 2, 1. make sure you're taking notes. Three, two, one. Okay, now let's listen to the conversation.
Now, listen to two students discussing the article.
Okay.
Jim, you're right. What do you think about what they're doing next year? This article.
I really like it.
Yeah?
Yeah, the new director's right that it will motivate.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to the reading because I involuntarily click here on the keyboard and I just like switch the slide. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna give you like 20 more seconds because actually I think that was the time that I just did not allow you to complete the reading. I'm sorry. It was my bad. It was my bad. With my sleeve, I just clicked on the keyboard. Okay, remember that for this exercise in the TOEFL IBT exam, you're going to have 50 seconds to read, and it's very important for you to take notes. Now, we're going to listen to the two students talking about the same topic of the reading. Okay, so once again, please, I encourage you to take notes.
Jim, you're in the choir, right? What do you think about what they're doing next year? This article.
I really like it.
Yeah?
Yeah, the new director's right that it will motivate us.
How's that?
Well, some of the other schools are really good, so we'll really have to work hard to go up against them.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we don't rehearse more than once a week, but if we know we'd be competing with other schools, we probably rehearse more often and improve our singing a lot.
That's true. The more you practice, the better you get. So, what about what the article said about how this will help the program?
I hope it works. Right now, our program is pretty small, but we have some really talented people, and it would be great to attract even more people.
So, how will this plan help?
Well, if we go to these off-campus events and other people hear us and think we're really good, we might be able to get some new students interested in coming to this university to be a part of our music program and perform in our choir concerts.
You're right. I hadn't really thought about that.
Okay, now let's read and listen to the task. This is very important, so make sure that you understand the task. Okay?
The man expresses his opinion about the change described in the article. Briefly summarize the change, then state his opinion about the change and explain the reasons he gives for holding that opinion.
Okay, now you have 30 seconds for you to prepare your answer. And then after, you're going to have 1 minute for you to audio record your answer on your cell phone. Your 30 minutes are going to start in 3, 2, 1. Okay, your time is up. Now, you are going to have 1 complete minute to audio record your answer. Your 60 seconds start in 3, 2, 1. All right, your time is up. Okay, great. Now, do you have enough time to answer your task? All right. Okay, great, awesome. All right. You missed out one example. Yes, but I got stuck in some point. Okay, this is practice. This is just practice. It's okay. All right, good, awesome, nice, nice. Okay, now I'm going to share with you the bullet points that you should have mentioned in your response. Okay, so here, the first part of the task was to mention the change. All right, and then to express the student's opinion. All right, so the changes that the choir at the City University will add off-campus competitions next year. He agrees. Do you by any chance remember, did you take notes of the student's name? Jem, yes, Daniel, yes. Jem, yeah, Jem, all right. So, and he agrees that the performing competitions will motivate the choir to improve because they rehearse more and therefore get better, okay? And then he agrees that off-campus events could help the program grow. More people would see the choir and that might interest new students, other people to come to the university. So basically there were 3 points, once again, the change and the 2 points that represented the examples of how Jim agrees with the change that is going to be in the choir. All right, good. So now I'm going to share with you, this is a different rubric, okay? This is a different rubric. And also I'm going to give you some time for you to listen to yourself, look at the rubric, and then also please share in the chat box what level you think you have now in this exercise. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds again, and that minute and 30 seconds start in 3, 2, 1. Ten more seconds. And your time is finished. Okay, so what level did you get now? 3, all right. Liliana says 3. Johan says 3. Christian says 3. All right. Okay. Good. Francisco says also 3. All right. Yeah, in general, if you already understand the tasks and you already have the rubrics, that is going to help you a lot when you prepare yourself for the official test. Okay, great. Okay, so this is in regards to the integrated task. Okay, now here, also I recommend you to please take a screenshot. Also, you can visit the website and you can download both rubrics for the independent and the integrated, and also you can have access to the rubrics of the writing section that we are about to start working on. Okay. I am going to play an example. What happens if I gather the statements in the level 4, but I missed one example? Yes. Remember that it actually here in the item number in number 4, it says the response present a clear progression of ideas and conveys the relevant information required by the task, right? So if you missed one example, that not because of the language, but because of the lack of information, you immediately are going to be in a level 3, right? Because here it says in the level 3, it says it exhibits some incompleteness, inaccuracy, or lack of specificity with respect to the content. Okay, so thank you Francisco, that is a very good question. So once again, you see that it is not about language only, but it's about how you present the information and the information itself. So I would say it's the ideas, it's the information, rather than only the language. Okay, good. All righty. Nice. Is there any other question that you may have? Also, people who are in the Facebook or in YouTube, any other question before we move on? All right. Good, great. All right, now I'm gonna play one example. On the same task, okay? So let's listen to this and then we move on.
Actually, the student liked that program. First of all, his opinion was in the other school, maybe it's good, and you can work to improve singing a lot. And additionally, a program he was talk about his program. It was small, but if you go to campus and to singing, and other students heard that, they will enjoy to come to this university. That's the another things. In my opinion, I agree with this student. That's improving singing a lot in his university, and the program is
okay. Now I'm gonna show you the rubrics again, and you tell me what level do you think he should be placed? 2. Christian immediately says 2. Johan says 2. And Francisco says level 2 as well. You all notice why, right? Because he gave his personal opinion and he was not asked for that opinion. He was asked for the student's opinion, not for his opinion. Because of that, he got a level 2. Yes, you're correct. Okay. Oh, Alejandro says level 1. Okay, good. But it's okay. I mean, like, you don't need to be perfect today. You don't need to be raters. This exercise is not to test how good rater you are. Okay, good. So yes, Alejandro, thank you very much. To have a level 1 is because actually it says the response fails to provide much relevant content. The ideas are expressed are often inaccurate, limited, or to vague utterances or repetitions, right? So in this case, it also is a combination of language and content. In this very specific case that we had just heard, the problem was not language, the problem was the content, right? He didn't answer the task. Okay, good. All right, nice. Super. Okay, now we're gonna move on with the second part, which is the writing section. And then this is just like to wrap up the speaking section. We already covered the independent and the integrated tasks. And I shared with you the rubrics for both tasks. And I also inform you where you can find not only the rubrics, but also more examples that you can practice with, right? So let's move on with the
Actually,
with the writing part. Okay. It is important also here to mention from me that writing is the only language skill that is learned, that is not as naturally developed as the other 3 language skills. And I have 2 walking examples in my house. My 2 daughters are bilingual and they are illiterate in Spanish, and the oldest one is literate in English and in Spanish. My point here is that my 2 daughters read, speak, and listen English, but they are not able to write in English correctly. And my oldest daughter is 9 years old. She writes in Spanish because she learned how to do that at school. But she's just learning how to write in English. Although her competencies is she's bilingual, but she doesn't know how to write. She doesn't know how to spell correctly in English. Especially, because as we know, all the English words are not written in the way we pronounce them, right? So sometimes, couple of 2 years ago, when she started writing her first letter for Santa, she wrote daddy. She says like my daddy wants, so she wrote daddy D-A-R-Y because she didn't know like that. This example is just to support that writing in English as well, writing in general is the only language skill that we learn. The other ones are acquired, are developed, let's say naturally, right? To learn how to write, we physically even have to sit down, right? We need to use paper and pencil. We need to use something to write with and something to write on. Whereas for the other 3 skills, it is more natural. When we read, we just like pass by the street, we take books or something more, it's that easier to have access to. Therefore, they are easier to develop. Whereas writing, also in the first language, it is more difficult, let's say. It's more complex as well, right? So this is to say that writing should be paid attention the most, and that we should be even more careful when we learn how to write, okay? And this is more time consuming if you want to. Professor Melba could tell you how difficult it is to write in English, right? And I say that because, of course, she's the editor of Profile, and then she could actually evidence that professors, teachers of English would not be able to write as expected, let's say, right? So this is just to exemplify that writing, it is time consuming and it is not easy. Therefore, we should devote more time learning how to write. Now, being said that, doesn't mean that it is going to be more difficult in this exam. I say that it is difficult in general, right? So that we should pay more attention to that skill, not because it is difficult in this exam, but because it is different the way we develop, we learn that language skill. Okay. Now, also as well, in the Professor Melba, thank you very much. She says, you are right, writing demands constant work and careful attention, all right? So in general, once again, it doesn't have to do with only this exam. It does require more time and more attention than the other 3 language skills. Thank you very much, Professor, for your comment. Okay, as well as in the first productive skill, which is speaking, in the writing part, we have the 2 different types of tasks, the integrated and the independent. Here, opposite to the speaking section, we have first the integrated task and after the independent. And that is also important to know. In the integrated part, we are going to do exactly the same strategy. Let's say we read a text, then after we listen to the same topic, but here the same topic is approached from a different perspective. Just an example, if the topic was about importations, in the reading, we're going to see the positive aspects of importations, whereas in the listening part, the same topic is going to be from a different perspective. Let's say the negative aspects of importations. And once again, this is just an example, right? Then after you read, you listen, you are given the task. And then you have 20 minutes to write down your answer, to type it down on the computer, right? Then there is not like an exact number of words that you are requested, but there is like a structure that you should follow. And also, it's important to mention that you are not requested to write down an essay like the academic essays that we would have to turn in at the university, but is the essay structure, which is composed by the introduction, the development of the ideas, and the conclusion. Basically, we are talking about like 5 different paragraphs, considering also that in general, a paragraph should have between 5 or 6 sentences, all right? So considering this general information, we're talking about an average of 290 up to 300 words. Now, it doesn't mean that if you write down less or more words than that, you're going to have more or less score, all right? The score, once again, is based on the rubric. And I'm going to share with you the rubric for the integrated task. Okay, so the integrated task is deals with the quality of writing, completeness, and accuracy of the response. Opposite to the speaking section, in this writing section, the scores go from 0 up to 5. Okay, so that is also important. And I am going to share with you, we're going to do the exercise, we're going to do the practice, and then after I show you the rubrics. All right, the rubrics are not as maybe one could expect them to be like super strict, that if you misspell and that if you don't include indentation or capitalization, you are going to be penalized. No, it is not like that. Once again, similar to what we saw in the speaking section, the most important is the content and the structure rather than the grammatical aspect and spelling, let's say, and also the mechanics are not included there. Also, I have always said that if you have taken any academic writing course at the university, that is more than enough to deal with the tasks that we have in the exam. When I talk to professors and when we talk about the test, we see and we have concluded that all the academic writing courses at the universities are more demanding than actually the tasks that we have in TOEFL, all right? So if you already took the writing course at the university, you are more than ready to take this exam. Daniela says, is like putting a critical writing on. No, actually it is easier than that. Here in this exam, you are not assessed, you are not requested, you are not evaluated based on your opinion, but on how you support your ideas, right? So it is not to analyze how critical you are. It is not to analyze your viewpoint or your opinion, but is how you organize your ideas, how you support your ideas. Thank you very much for that question, Daniela. All right, good. So let's get ready. We're going to start reading. So please make sure that if you want to take the screenshot, and also if you want to take notes, please do it. You're encouraged to do it just like so that you can start taking the information that we're going to use afterwards, okay? For this part, you are going to have 3 minutes to read, and then we're going to listen to the same topic from a different perspective. So in total, the input is going to be 5 minutes. During the 5 minutes, please make sure that you take notes. After, you are going to read and listen to the task, and then I tell you, we're not going to answer the 20-minute response expected today. We're just going to take 2 minutes to prepare as if we were going to answer, okay? So please get ready to read 300 words, and then I am going to play the listening exercise. Okay. You have 3 minutes, and your 3 minutes are going to start in 3, 2, 1. One more minute. 10 seconds. All right, now we're going to listen to the same topic from a different perspective. So please make sure that you take notes.
No memoir can possibly be correct in every detail, but still, the Chevalier's memoir is pretty accurate overall, and is, by and large, a reliable historical source. Let's look at the accuracy of the 3 episodes mentioned in the reading. First, the loan from the merchant. Well, that doesn't mean that the Chevalier was poor. Let me explain. We know that in Switzerland, the Chevalier spent huge amounts of money on parties and gambling, and he had wealth, but it was the kind of property you have to sell first to get money. So it usually took a few days to convert his assets into actual money. So when he ran out of cash, he had to borrow some while he was waiting for his money to arrive. But that's not being poor. Second, the conversations with Voltaire. The Chevalier states in his memoir that each night, immediately after conversing with Voltaire, he wrote down everything he could remember about that particular night's conversation. Evidently, the Chevalier kept his notes of these conversations for many years and referred to them when writing the memoir. Witnesses who lived with the Chevalier in his later life confirm that he regularly consulted notes and journals when composing the memoir. Third, the Chevalier's escape from the prison in Venice. Other prisoners in that prison had even more powerful friends than he did, and none of them were ever able to bribe their way to freedom, so bribery hardly seems likely in his case. The best evidence, though, comes from some old Venetian government documents. They indicate that soon after the Chevalier escaped from the prison, the ceiling of his old prison room had to be repaired. Why would they need to repair a ceiling unless he had escaped exactly as he said he did?
Okay, now let's read and listen to the task. Here it says the question and of course the directions. Summarize the points made in the lecture, all right? Summarize. Remember that I told you before the 6 scales that we're talking about? I haven't mentioned the last one. So we were talking about summarizing, synthesizing information, analyzing information, paraphrasing, note-taking, and the last one, would you be able to tell me what the last scale I am talking about? Okay. Note-taking is number 5, yes. So we say summarizing, synthesizing information, analyzing information, paraphrasing, note-taking. And number 6, thank you, Christian, very much. Any idea what would be number 6? We have been putting into practice today, explicitly. Time management. Time management is the other one. All right. And I have said you have 3, 2, 1, 2 minutes, 1 minute. Yes, because we do need to actually pace our activities, our tasks. All right. So there it is. And here you have 20 minutes for you to be able to answer this task. Okay. So this is the task.
Summarize the points made in the lecture, being sure to explain how they respond to the specific points made in the reading passage.
Okay, now I'm going to give you 3 minutes. You see, time management. I'm going to give you 3 minutes for you to write down the outline as if you were going to answer this task. Summarize the points made in the lecture, being sure to explain how they respond to the specific points made in the reading passage. Okay, so you have 3 minutes for you to write down as if you were going to answer on the computer. Okay, so your 3 minutes are going to start in 3, 2, 1. One more minute. Three, two, one. Okay, great. All right. Now, I want you to please compare your notes with the bullet points that we have here for this exercise. This would be the information that definitely should be included in the response. So we have 3 pieces of information. Then the R stands for reading and the L stands for the lecture. The R, in the R point, you can find the information that was included in the reading. And of course, in the L was the information that was presented in the lecture. So as the task demands to write down the summary, basically, this information should be included in the text that you would write. Did you get all the information? Did you miss out any pieces of information? There are 6 in total, 3 from the reading, the same from a different perspective in the lecture. And once again, summarizing, synthesizing, analyzing, paraphrasing, note-taking, and time management. Those are the 6 skills that we have, and not necessarily in one language, but that we have as part of our academic life, and then they are tested here in these type of tasks. Also important to mention that these tasks are piloted. These scales are the result of research, and then they are tested, piloted, and once again they are the result of research. So it is not something that someone just came out with and then put them there. Okay, so thank you very much, Caroline, for sharing here. She says that she missed 2 from the lecture. Yep. And then that is important to make sure. Maybe it was not you didn't understand. Maybe you missed them out when you took notes. So in that case, once again, the more you practice, you start understanding what your learning style is, what your strengths and also your weaknesses are. And based on that, you should start modifying your studying habits, and also your acknowledging how you can strengthen your own learning habits as well, right? So that is also, once again, this is not only to take this exam, but this is part of academic life, right? This is the way we learn how to learn. Okay, great. So and these are the rubrics. Okay, yeah. That is a very good comment, Christian. Thank you very much. However, I didn't know the word bribe, so I changed it by help from his friends. Okay, very good, very good. That is another. And once again, you are using paraphrasing. So you see that the scales are there. It is not something that we explicitly develop, but we know how to use those skills. Sometimes we're not aware that we have them. Okay, good. So these are the rubrics. Thank you very much for the comment. These are the rubrics here, and these are different from the rubrics, of course, of the speaking section, and they are different from the rubrics for the independent task. Also, if you want to take a picture, if you want to take a screenshot, and you can, of course, use them afterwards. If you had the time, you could actually finish the assignment today. You can finish this task. So you can take the 20 minutes to type down your answer, and then you could use these rubrics to self-assess, and then you can say like, oh yes, I'm doing fine, or oh, I need to continue to work on this, and so forth. So I think this exercise, once again, you should work harder on this skill, all right? So by using these rubrics, you can have a very clear idea on how you are going to be assessed once you take the official exam. So please make sure that you take the picture, the screenshot, or that you visit the website and you download it. Okay, great. That is in regards to the integrated section. Now to wrap up, we are going to move on to, oh, this is one example. If you want to also take a picture and compare afterwards with your own production, that would be interesting, okay? And also here you can see the type of production that we receive in ETS. There are from 0 up to 5, right? Good. So that is also interesting for you to have access to. As well, you can have access to this type of samples in the website. Okay, so now let's wrap up this presentation with the independent task that is basically supported on a question. So this is only one example on of the type of question that you are going to be prompted by, so that you can provide your answer. Here in the integrated task, you had 20 minutes and the task was to summarize. Here in this independent task, you have 30 minutes, because actually here you have to create, you have to support your answer. So here you need to either agree or disagree, and based on that you would have to elaborate. Also, introduce the topic, state whether you do agree or don't agree, and then provide the supporting ideas. And then you wrap up your writing by a concluding paragraph. So in general, you're expected to write 5 paragraphs. The introductory, 3 supporting ideas, and then the concluding paragraph. All right, so here, do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Always telling the truth is the most important consideration in any relationship. And here, use specific reasons and examples to support your answer. Okay, so here also you have this example so that you can make up this space, make up the time in your agendas, and you can practice, and then you can use the rubrics so that you can self-assess on the second task of the writing section of the TOEFL IBT exam. Okay, so these were the 2 sections of the exam that I was in charge of sharing with you today. We already saw the speaking section where we have 2 different types of tasks, integrated and independent, and we did the 2 exercises as well. Also, we presented the writing section where we have as well the independent and the integrated. I shared with you the 4 rubrics, and also due to time constraints, we couldn't do the complete section of the writing part, but of course you could do this on your own. You could self-assess based on the rubrics, and then that would be super important for you to get acquainted, be informed about how you are going to be assessed on these tasks. Also, I want to share with you this example of the independent task of the writing section as well, for you to compare maybe with your own production afterwards, or to rate it with the rubrics. I am sharing with you right now my email. If you have any questions, any comments, if you want to say hello to me, there is no problem. Okay, my email is jayala, JAYALA @etsglobal.org. It's there in the chat. Please do not hesitate, just drop me a line. How many lines should every paragraph have? The average is like 6 to 9 sentences. So let's say that also it could be like 6 to 9 lines. But it is not, once again, it doesn't affect your score. What actually does affect the score is the supporting, how well supported your position is. All right, good. All right, so, and as I said before, I'm going to share with you not only information about my best scores, but also I'm going to share with you some links where you can find material to prepare yourself. There is some material that, of course, is for free, and there is some that you would have to pay. So it's your choice to use both, okay? Here, as I said before, my best scores is the combination of the highest scores of previous exams that you took of TOEFL, of course, right? So here, you are going to receive on the score report today, the day that you took the exam, 2 different score reports. The one resulting from today's exam, and the second is the result of showing you the highest scores of previously exams that you took. All right. Here in this example, you can see that there are 3 different dates because this person took 3 different exams. And in this score, you can see the highest scores of the 3 exams, the 3 valid exams that this person has taken. All right. So you don't have to pay, you don't have to ask for them. It is there as part of the score report that we are providing these days. Okay, so that is in regards to the my best scores. And here you can have access to these links. So once again, please take the pictures or the screenshots so that you can visit these websites. Here you find videos, and you have material that is directed to teachers. You can also have access to them. Of course, all this material is for free. All right. Here, this in case you want to receive propaganda, in case you want to receive some marketing. Yeah. Also, if you want to receive some advertisement, you know, like, oh, we're going to open this course or we're going to launch this. In case you want to, you can also click here. And here, this is to make sure that the universities you are planning on doing this exchange, or you're going to do this double diploma or double degree and so forth. These are the 11,000 universities that accept TOEFL results around 150 countries. And here, this is the entrance to TOEFL Word, right? So TOEFL Go Anywhere, you find here everything from materials, ebooks, paper books, you know, like printed books, courses, and everything. You can find it here, right? TOEFL Go Anywhere. And the next one is a massive online open course for free. This is very good. This is a 10-week course. Last time we launched it, we had over 400,000 students around the world who took this course. So if you have the time, please browse the website, and if you could register and take it, that would be very useful, of course, if you have the time. All right. Here, this is free material, so please make sure that you do have it, that you have access to this. It's very useful. You can actually use it on your cell phone. Okay. Here also is the same, is similar material, is for free. It's some material that you can find on the website. And also, once again, ets.org/TOEFL, you find a lot of material that could help you prepare yourself for this exam. Okay, here there is some material, of course, in this for this material you will have to pay, but I have always suggested that if you go to well, nowadays it could be possible, if the libraries are open, you could go to the libraries of various universities and you can find this material. Also, you can book it at at Luis Ángel Arango, and if you go to Centro Colombo Americano, you can find them as well. So you can use them and you would not have to pay for them. Okay, and well, here you have the application, and as I said, these videos here, you can find thousands of videos, and especially these videos I'm showing you right now, they are very interesting because they explain task by task exactly what it is composed by and how they work and so forth. And here the videos I told you about in YouTube. This is one of the most recommended sources of preparation that we suggest, like it is one of the most visited ones. All right, and the other ones are just like books that you find, you could buy, and that's it. Alrighty, so thank you very much for your attention. I hope you have found this presentation useful. I hope that you have actually recorded your answers, and that this has helped you to prepare yourself for this exam that, as Professor said, we need to take it at any given point in our academic life. Thank you very much, Professor, for your invitation, for having, of course, accepted the invitation of ETS to share this information with the students of La Nacional, and for ASCUN, Laura, Luisa, and Joseph, and Natalia. Thank you very much. And of course, thank you all for having accepted this invitation and for having made up the space in your hectic agendas on a Friday morning. I know.
But it's been worth it. Thank you again, Jair. I'm sure that our audience could have a very good orientation in terms of this exam. I really want to thank you, Luisa, as well, for this invitation. It was ASCUN, as I said at the beginning, the organization that made this possible. An advantage for our community is that we will have the chance to review and to watch this video again and again and to get prepared for this exam. So we will include for sure the information in our coming bulletin so that our community learns more about the TOEFL exam. As you have witnessed, Jair is not only the director of ETS, but also a wonderful lecturer and also a wonderful teacher who cares about the preparation of our community for these exams. Thank you so much, Luisa. Thank you again for the invitation.
Yes, no, thanks again, Jair, for your tips and recommendations. Thanks, Universidad Nacional de Colombia and Professor Melba for being part of these initiatives. And thanks to everyone for your active participation. From ASCUN, we will create more opportunities like this to our universities and their academic community to strengthen skills. So thank you so much, and a good day for everyone.
Thank you very much. Have a good weekend. Yes, please enjoy the weather, by the way.
Oh my God,
Today
yes.
Today is the exception. We have a
Yes.
sunny day in Bogota. Thank you.